A British Airways flight takes off somewhere around the globe every 90 seconds.
We fly to more than 200 cities around the world.
Over 45 million passengers a year.
A very, very big operation.
Once the world's favourite airline,
Good morning.
recent years have seen BA facing some turbulent times.
Fresh allegations of dirty tricks.
Massive disruption is thought to have been caused by a power surge.
When we fail, of course we get criticism.
The important thing is to learn from those mistakes and quickly.
Competition in the skies has never been tougher, and the stakes have never been higher.
Competitors make us better. BA has to provide a better service.
But now, in its centenary year, the company is setting off on a journey of its own.
It's going to arrive a bit early. Earlier the better.
To transform itself back into the world-class airline it once was.
Everything has changed, apart from our salt and pepper.
It's a tough world now in aviation, so we need to move on.
As British Airways begins its multi-billion-pound makeover, our cameras have been allowed exclusive access to all areas of the business. From the factories where the airline buys its state-of-the-art jets,
I just think aeroplanes are beautiful.
The aircraft can't fly until we've completed this process.
to the engineers who keep them in the air.
When you're working on a plane that weighs 300 tons, there's going to be problems as we go through.
If you can play an Xbox, you can push out a plane.
From trouble at the top...
I get pissed off when people criticize BA. If someone criticizes BA, they're criticizing me.
To the teams on the ground.
One of the machines has broken down.
Do you know how to turn this off? I can't turn it on.
And the people who keep the passengers smiling.
If we don't deliver, the airline doesn't deliver.
In this episode, can the team in Cardiff refurbish a Boeing 777 in just 30 days, or will a faulty window throw a spanner in the works?
If we can't fix the windscreen today, then it could deflect the flight time. It's not something we want to happen.
First-class service gets a facelift, but will the cabin crew cope with all the changes?
Suddenly it's like unlearning everything you've done and relearning it again.
They're really hard, they're really stiff. You try and open them.
And a fond farewell to a flying machine.
Just to see the reaction from the public. So many people have bought tickets to be on this flight.
To keep their planes flying and passengers safe, all airlines are legally obliged to maintain their aircraft. And for BA's 157-strong long-haul Boeing fleet, that means a regular trip to Britain's largest heavy aircraft maintenance facility, located next to Cardiff Airport.
Back up, boys.
If you liken it to your car, we basically carry out the major service on the aircraft that British Airways flies. In any given year, we can do about 80 aircraft. If we're a really busy year, we can be clearing 800,000 man-hours.
The team here know these massive machines inside and out. Every 6 years, each plane in the BA fleet gets a supersized overhaul, known as a D-check.
The whole cabin gets removed. Literally every component gets inspected on here. You take the seats off, the carpets come up, the floorboards get lifted out, the overhead bins will get removed and will get sent away. We can take panels off, we'll send them away for painting. We can fabricate metal that goes back onto the aircraft. Engines will get removed, we will drop the gears down. Literally, we inspect every element of that aircraft.
But today, the facility is about to face one of the toughest challenges in its 25-year history.
We're here at British Airways Maintenance Cardiff today, waiting for a 777 aircraft to land.
Tim and his team have a 250-ton job on their hands. They've got just 30 days to completely transform the cabin of this Boeing 777, and this is the first time they've taken on such a mammoth makeover. Will they finish the job in time for the plane's next passenger flight in just a few weeks?
Okay, locked off. The team are waiting now to dock the aircraft safely against the side, make sure we don't cause any damage.
The airline's maintenance base here in Cardiff was originally open to service their 747 jumbo fleet.
Is that okay?
But with the retirement of that plane already on the horizon,
brakes on.
The engineers now have extra capacity to refurbish other types of aircraft.
The aircraft's now docked. We've got the chocks fitted, ground power supplied. We test the aircraft thoroughly now. And then we'll start the strip.
Tim is the team leader on this massive project and must oversee over 2,500 tasks in order to complete the job on time.
All the carpets, all the floor coverings, the toilet floor coverings, etc., all going to be changed. All of the faces of the galleys and the toilets, every bit of the furnishings, like the wallpaper, the Tedlar, is all going to be changed throughout the whole cabin. So it'll look like a brand new cabin. Moving into the club class zone, all of these seats are being taken off. So by tomorrow morning, they'll all be out from here. This is World Traveller. All these seats are coming off, and new seats with new in-flight entertainment seats going on. And new carpets, overhead bins modified. All of the lighting is going to change. Conventional lighting is changing to LED, fully stripped. We're looking at 3 days, really, to be able to do it. It's a new challenge for us. It's a very big modification, and the guys know we've got tight time constraints, but that can't be at the sacrifice of any safety or any quality. Like with any engineering things, you know, if things are thrown at us, then we've got departments that can assist us, we've got technical support, we've got plenty of people on this aircraft that are very good at what they do. So we're going to do everything we can to ensure this doesn't go late.
It's day one, and the first task for the team is to start removing all of the 300 seats on board. But when every day counts, any delays are not good news. And in business class, Tim has found a problem.
At the moment, they're trying to release one of the feet, because the way the seat bolts into the seat tracks in the floor, it slides into tangs. So at the moment, they've got to try and release that from the tangs before we attach the cradle to try and lift it. If you attach the cradle and try and lift it, it's got such a force on that to be able to lift this up, you'll just damage the seat track, which then means we get into a large repair. So.
But with the club seat finally removed from the floor, the next job is getting it off the plane.
You're right up against the cushion on this side, mate. Well, I'll come back in with that again.
So this seems like the perfect time to start stripping out the galley.
Off it goes. First one of another 27 to go.
And that's just club class. The team also have to take out over 200 seats from the economy cabins.
By the end of today, we hope to have the other zones also stripped out completely. We then start our modification. That's going to take us another 2 to 3 weeks to do.
The next few weeks will see the cabin stripped back to its bare bones and every component tested. With thousands of jobs still to complete, the clock is ticking. But will an unexpected delay throw Tim's schedule into chaos?
Unfortunately, that window heat system failed on test, which involved us having to change the window.
Coming up, will the engineering team be able to shed some light on a tricky problem?
I'm trying to work out how this bloody slides in there.
How will the airline mark a moment in aviation history?
The galleys have been packed with people, just all trying to get things signed, and it's just been a fantastic atmosphere, absolutely amazing.
And is the new first-class service running into turbulence?
Just use it now, because I think we're out of wine glass. I'll have to wash wine glasses.
For those lucky enough to be able to afford it, flying first class with the airline was once seen as a prestigious experience. But a lack of investment in its premium cabins has seen BA left behind in the battle for luxury travellers.
We sometimes hear from our customers that the experience today is not as it used to be, that things have changed too much, that there's been too many changes to the travel experience. And I would accept that.
Stand by for takeoff.
Back in what's considered to be the golden era of flying, a first-class flight meant silver service dining, a drink from the onboard bar, and in more recent years, relaxing on the world's first onboard flatbed. But now, BA have been outclassed by some big new players. With enough cash, you can enjoy a shower, personal onboard butler, and for around £19,000, your very own penthouse in the sky. So why aren't BA offering a similar service on their flights?
We don't believe in showers on board. We don't believe our customers are requesting that, particularly when you look at our network and where we fly to and the length of our flights. We do know that our customers are looking for privacy, storage space, certain types of food. we must be there to respond to a demand for luxury services. So we're very much committed to do it.
Luxury might have different interpretations depending on the culture. So luxury for us is what luxury is for our customers. So our positioning is always understated elegance.
In the 2018 Skytrax Awards, the airline failed to make the top 10 in the best first-class category. But instead of showers and double beds on board, the airline is determined to improve their ranking by changing their first-class service.
We will have new entertainment system, new food and drink, new bedding, but really what brings that to life is our people.
And the journey starts here at the Global Learning Academy, or GLA, the airline's training facility near Heathrow, where every member of crew begins their career.
Being cabin crew is a lifestyle as much as a job. You can be working all sorts of crazy hours. You're away from your family when you want to be with them most sometimes. And it has its moments of being very exciting up in the air. One day you could be working in a first cabin, the next day you could be on a short-haul flight. So you're always adapting to different customer needs.
Change and Development Manager Jonathan Foster is at the GLA, overseeing the introduction of the new premium service with some existing crew members. They need to familiarise themselves with everything from new equipment to serving afternoon tea on board.
Today we're in the first cabin mock-up, which has the exact seats that you'll see on board our aircraft, and that allows us to take our crew through a realistic environment. I'm going to be introducing our trainers to all the new equipment, so we'll look at all the different crockery, glassware, so that they can become really familiar with it.
And of course, attention to detail is crucial.
Happy now?
It wasn't in the centre of the square. I know, it's ridiculous, sorry.
Okay. Afternoon tea now takes over 2 pages, so there's an introduction to the different choices the customers have, and then obviously all their choice of tea and coffee and other drinks that we can serve with it as well. So we just tried to make it a bit more friendly for the customer, so it's simpler to read and a bit more information in there for them as well. It's great.
Although first and business class make up less than a quarter of the seats on a plane, they account for around half of the revenue generated by each flight. So, keeping these lucrative passengers happy is vital for the airline.
It's really important that we do get it right for our customers. It's an expensive part of the aircraft to fly in. Therefore, they're going to arrive on this aircraft with very, very high expectations.
But will these changes be enough to cause a stir with the competition? And how will staff deliver the new style service at 40,000 feet?
Let's give it a go, see how it works.
Back in Cardiff, Tim and his team are into their second week of a major overhaul of this 777 aircraft. The engineers are working against the clock to completely refurbish the cabin of the plane. But although the seats have been removed from inside, the pressure is starting to tell.
This input is 6,500 man-hours, 2,500 job cards. When you're working on a plane that weighs 300 tons at takeoff weight and it costs 250 million quid, there is going to be problems as we go through.
The team is hoping to complete this giant task in just 30 days. But with such a complex modification, they have come up against some unexpected technical issues.
We've put a new Club World Pantry in. A couple of technical issues with that at the moment. That's with the representatives looking at fixing those problems.
Although the team are making good progress, when you're carrying out hundreds of tasks for the first time, every job's a learning curve.
Well, what I'm fitting here is the new LED lighting system. Now it gives a nice, brighter, fresher look to the toilets. The whole thing is set up on a plate that slides in on 2 hinges, and then you have to bolt it up into the top of the part of the toilet module. And then you've got like a load of drip shields, and obviously keep a lot of the moisture at bay if there is any leaking with any of the water pipes here. These drip shields, they can be a little bit fiddly to fit in, but they do go in pretty well. I'm trying to work out how this bloody slides in there. But the thing is, though, you've got a lot of wire in here as well, so you can't just go shoving it straight in, thinking that it's going to slide in. You've got to work around it, and you'd have to just make sure you don't nick any of the wires while you put it in as well. And this just slides in over 2 clips and over the top, and should just butt in place. And then what we'll do then afterwards is we'll put a bit of bead of sealant around the outside. And that should be good to go.
When the team plan any refurb, they receive a set of technical drawings from the manufacturer that gives them an estimate of the time each job should take.
When it's the first install, stuff doesn't match between the plane and the drawing, and it's ironing that out. So the next time the aircraft comes in, the drawings are correct, the paperwork is correct, the man-hours on the task. It might give you 6 hours to fit these overhead bins. In fact, we find it takes 10 hours. If we know it's a 10-hour task, we can plan for fitting 20 of them. We know how long it's going to take. So it's ironing all those problems out.
Yeah.
All good?
Yeah.
No problems?
Oh, we'll find some. Don't worry.
You're right.
So, with the team slipping behind schedule, it looks like they may need some extra time.
There's a contingency which you build into the plan to enable you to slip because of technical issues, because of material issues, or anything else the aircraft might throw up at us. We're going to need to use some of that contingency at the moment, but that can change. We might be able to pull it back by working together with the avionic teams, with our planning, with our technical support. If the aircraft is late, that's a really bad thing. If the aircraft isn't safe, that can't happen.
As the team works flat out to make up some time, their next job is to refurb the surfaces of the cabin that the passengers will see.
We're changing the surface finish, the Tedlar surface finish on it. So at the moment we're removing the old glue. The material we're putting on is hundreds and hundreds of pounds a sheet. So we have to make sure it goes on correctly. But the guys are good at what they do, so they'll get it right. Are you Rich?
No.
It's preparation. It's like when you watch people build houses. Houses got really quickly. It's the foundations that you need to put in first, and that's what the guys have done here. And then it's just about them smashing the seats in and getting them all fitted.
While Tim and the team concentrate on the cabin, a few miles away in the aircraft interiors building, all the safety kit fitted to the aircraft is being tested to make sure it's working correctly.
This is a safety element built into the aircraft that nobody gets to see.
A plane undergoing maintenance or a refurb is the only time that most of the safety equipment will ever see the light of day. And the team inspect around 1,500 emergency slides every year.
The general inflation time of a 777 slide is anywhere between 3.5 to 4.9 seconds. To repack it and send it back out to service, you're probably looking between 12 and 15 hours.
Safety is engineering's first priority. It's the airline's first priority. And ultimately, our passenger wants to get on that aircraft knowing that they are going to be safe. So what we do here is vital.
With the slides all tested and signed off, they can be repacked before being delivered back to Tim and his 777 for refitting. As the galleys in the 777 are removed as part of the makeover, it's a chance for the avionics team to test another vital part of the aircraft's kit.
The first thing you want to do when you have a flight anywhere, you want to relax, have a nice cup of tea. If that wasn't there on that aircraft, you'd think, well, I'll go with someone else. And that's what we're doing. We're constantly upgrading the technology to bring us those things that customers want. The oldest type of unit we have is from a 747. And we've working our way up, and as you can see, the progression of technology is going up and up and up, all the way up to microprocessor-controlled espresso machines.
The Airlines 777 aircraft are fitted with up to 12 beverage makers to help brew the 25 million cups of tea served in the sky every year. Before they can be fitted back onto the plane, the beverage makers are all tested to make sure that they draw the same amount of power and they all boil at exactly the same temperature.
It is a kettle at the end of the day, but it is also what they class as a vital item. The aircraft will not fly unless you've got a full galley of beverage makers, because it's just as important for a passenger to make sure they got a cup of tea than they have to make sure that the undercarriage is working.
Back at the 777, and 3.5 weeks after they started their refurb, the team have finally got to the point where they can begin to install the first World Traveller seats in the economy section of the aircraft.
Morning, guys. So you've got the drawings ready. We can get those out, and then we'll start fitting them. All right, thanks very much, guys.
332 new seats have to be fitted onto the plane, 32 in Club, 48 in World Traveller Plus, and 252 in World Traveller. And the two engineers on board tasked with starting the job off are local lads Andy and Josh.
It's quite a mixture and a variety of people who I work alongside. Most of them are brilliant, but you always get the odd one or two wherever you work.
Josh, is it true that you're the tightest bloke you've ever seen?
At the moment, we're doing this modification, so it's a little bit different to the heavy maintenance that we normally do. But it definitely is new and exciting.
First thing we're looking for is to make sure we get the right place.
As well as being comfortable, the seats must hold still in heavy turbulence, so it's vital that they're secured firmly to the floor.
These holes are 1 inch apart, so we need to go 3 holes forward.
Metal tracks with holes are fitted onto the floor of the cabin, which the seats will be clipped into.
So we're going to line our front feet up with them and slide our seat into place.
It's basically a circular foot that sits in the track, and then it slides forward about 1/2 inch, and then that's where the locking mechanism can then sit into the track and lock the seat into the seat track itself.
So we come 3 inches forward. Right, all together. Is the back still in?
Yeah, this one's jammed down now. There we go. Yeah, that's him. What's up?
Job done. And with 4 seats in, it's just another 328 to go. The team will have to work quickly to hit their deadline.
It went pretty all right, actually.
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, some seats, if there's something stuck in the track,
yeah,
usually is a bit of a pain, but that one went in pretty sharpish. Hopefully the rest of them will go exactly the same.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah.
You guys did really well, so it's nice to see it going in. It's nice to bring that first one on, lock it into place, and then look over the next few hours building the rest going through. Once we finish this zone, though, we've still got another 2 zones to do. So we've got to ramp it up. We've got to get these seats on now.
Coming up, problems in first class as the crew get to grips with the new service.
Do that again.
It's really hard. No, try. They're really hard. They're really stiff.
And will an unexpected problem threaten Tim's plan to deliver his plane on time?
We've got a flight test in 2 days' time. We've got a lot of things to check before the aircraft takes off. And we certainly hope that we won't find anything like we found today.
Back at Heathrow, and it's the start of another week at the Global Learning Academy. Today, a group of cabin crew are midway through their training course, which will prepare them for the new premium service that is about to take off. They all have at least a year's experience working on board, but the expected standards at the front of the plane are very different from what they've been used to.
We will be teaching them, obviously, everything about their premium language, about the customer profile. We introduce them for the first time to the products we have on board.
The first stage for the crew is to familiarise themselves with the Club World service, and job number 1 is to talk through the menu.
In a galley environment, we would have everything displayed in front of you. So, as a starter, if you open your menus on the lunch section, you will see that the first starter is our prawn cocktail, baby jam and Mary Rose sauce. So that's the option number 1. The soup today is a Salaria cream soup, like this one over here. It's not going to be served like this for our customers, as you might imagine. It will be served.
With the trainees briefed on the details of the menu, they can now put what they've learnt into practice.
So, to continue your journey on your Club World development, we are going to do the starters now. So one of our crew members will be serving our lovely customer.
Miss Smith, here is the starter that you ordered. Prawn cocktail with little gem lettuce and Mary Rose sauce and your still water. Can I get you anything else at all?
No, that's all, thank you.
Fantastic, enjoy your meal.
Thank you.
Once cabin crew have successfully completed the Club World course, they can move on to first class training.
So what do you think?
Address her by name.
Yes, exactly. Address the customer by name. Wines are something a lot of crew are not familiar with. You know, what wine prepositions we have on board. We have a lovely Cabernet Sauvignon, and this one is from Chile. The starters, the main courses, anything really our customer profile will be judged on the day. It is a bit intimidating, and it can be tough for a few people because not everyone is used to a premium environment.
Being cabin crew, you've got to be empathetic, you've got to be understanding to customers' needs, you've got to be able to step into their shoes and know what they're experiencing, and you've always got to be professional.
Next on the agenda, Jonathan is introducing the staff to the new style afternoon tea that is due to be served in first class.
Just be looking out for how the table's set up, that it's picture perfect for the customers.
Oh, how lovely. Very nice. Mrs. Johnson, could I tempt you with a warmed plain or fruit scone to accompany your jam and cream?
Could I have a fruit scone, please?
Certainly.
But as they're finding out, it's not always a piece of cake.
Can we do that again?
It's really hard.
No, but sorry, let me show you. Although you can use them to scoop underneath, but if not, if you use it just slightly wider, it allows you to hold and release quite easily.
Jonathan needs to make sure the crew provide impeccable standards, as the new first-class service will depend on how the staff deliver it.
No, try. They're really hard. They're really stiff. You try and open them.
This is supposed to make life easier for you guys on board as crew.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
First time with everything. Well done. Well done. Please tuck in and enjoy, Elaine. That's the best bit.
So while the training day has been a success on the ground, how will the crew cope in the air? Jonathan has arranged a special test flight, and with BA Standards manager Claire Rose on board, he's hoping for a smooth journey.
It's a really competitive market, so it's really important that today goes well.
But are Jonathan's plans about to hit a spot of turbulence?
You just use it now, because I think we're out of wine glasses. I'll have to wash wine glasses.
Back in Cardiff, the team have a full house with 5 planes all in for scheduled maintenance. The engineers work to a tight deadline, as a grounded plane makes no money for the airline.
We know that our customers are absolutely dependent on what we do. We've got timescales to work to. We know that we've got to deliver an aircraft at a certain time. If we don't do that, if we don't keep our promises, then essentially that has a knock-on effect to our customers, because our customers could be delayed.
Today, Ken York and the team were running a test on one of the most vital parts of the 777 aircraft. With a list price of around $30 million each, these giant engines can push a fully laden 777 to a maximum takeoff speed of 215 miles an hour.
The weight of the engine is around 8.5 ton, so that's probably around 5 family saloon cars worth of weight hanging from the wing.
Although the engine will be running today, it will be powered by compressed air and not jet fuel. But the test still gives the team a chance to spot any potentially catastrophic defects.
So part of the dry motoring that we do with the engine is just ensuring that we have engine oil pressure. We're also looking for any potential oil leaks from when we've done filter changes. So we're looking at the hydraulic system, we're looking at leaks in the pneumatic system. And a bit later we'll get fuel down onto the engine while we're motoring, just to make sure that we've got fuel pressure and we've got no fuel leaks. If we do have an issue, if we do have a leak, then we identify that straight away and we shut the engine down.
With safety gear in place and the area secure, the test can begin.
They're highly trained professionals, they know what they're doing, and typically this test will be done in a very short period of time.
And in just a matter of minutes, the inspection is complete.
The engineers just finished doing the test now. No issues identified at all. We've primed the fuel systems. We've checked for hydraulic leaks, no hydraulic leaks. With the filters, no pneumatic leaks around the pneumatic ducts. So the next phase now is to close the engine up before we actually push the aircraft outside.
But on the other side of the hangar, it's not good news for Tim's team, who are at a critical stage of their refurb. Delivery is looming, and they've hit a problem.
Unfortunately, that window heat system failed, which involved us having to change the window.
Try it that way.
It's not something we want to happen. It's certainly a challenge for them.
Heathrow's Terminal 5 is the largest freestanding structure in the UK. In 2019, it was voted the best airport terminal in the world. Today, there's a special test flight departing to New York's JFK Airport.
New York is a very special destination, very important market for us, the largest long-haul market in the world, the largest long-haul market for us.
The journey between London and New York is the world's most valuable route, with the airline's 12 flights a day earning the company over $1 billion annually. And their planes spending 42,000 hours in the air every year as they cross the Atlantic. It's especially popular with lucrative business passengers who are happy to spend serious money to sit in luxury cabins, which makes this flight all the more important. Today, Change and Development Manager Jonathan Foster will test the brand new first-class service on fare-paying customers for the first time.
Any customers that have flown British Airways in first before, they will see everything has changed, apart from our salt and pepper. But every piece of equipment is new. So everything is now full size. In the past, historically, airline catering equipment has been slightly smaller. It's all been designed to fit into the small spaces that galleys are. So our challenge has been, how can we put full-size dinner service on board within the space that we have? And we've done that.
Also stepping on board today is Service Proposition and Standards Manager Claire Rose, whose job it is to evaluate the team and feed back to head office in London.
From a customer perspective, I'm going to be looking at the timings of the service, understanding how quickly the service is delivered. I'm also going to be looking at the customer reactions to new products. From a crew perspective, how easy it is for the crew to deliver the service. I think the hardest bit for the crew will be they won't be familiar with all of the products, the new catering and the new equipment. So I think sometimes it's around locating things in the galley, being able to deliver in quite a timely fashion. I think that can often be the challenge.
Please make yourselves comfortable. Please do keep the aisles clear for all remaining customers to board. Thank you.
This flight will be a real test for the company, because when the passengers are paying up to £5,000 for a seat, they expect the very best. So for the crew on board, the stakes are sky high.
It's an expensive part of the aircraft to fly in, therefore we need to deliver to their levels of expectations.
As they take off, the team are under scrutiny straight away. In first class, passengers can order food at any time throughout the flight, so the heat is on. And less than an hour into the journey comes the first test.
Put the garnish into the bottom of the bowl, soup into the jug, and this will be presented to the customer out of the table. It's just a case of taking the soup out and pouring in a slight little swirl motion. OK.
The crockery has been designed so that the bowl holds the exact amount of soup that's in the pouring jug. The soup must be poured in front of the customer, so let's hope they don't hit a spot of turbulence.
We've changed a few elements of the service and tried to bring a bit of theatre back into the cabin. And I think crew that have maybe worked in the first cabin for a long time have become very used to the service we've had. So anything we change on board, suddenly it's like unlearning everything you've done and relearning it again.
But as more passengers order food and drink during the flight, the crew discover a problem.
I know, but this is one of the things that's good to know. If we're going to run out, we're going to have to look for space to load more on board. Wine glasses. I'll just use it now because I think we're out of wine glasses. I'll have to wash wine glasses.
Thankfully, Jonathan is not afraid of a bit of on-board washing up.
Well, that's clean. That's there if you need it.
If you want to.
With dinner served, the crew prepare their new signature afternoon tea. Looking on, Claire is making sure the finest standards are being met. There's no room for error, and the smallest detail can make a big difference.
Lots of work goes on behind the scenes to get to this point. So we've done lots of work in meeting rooms, and then we go across to a cabin mock-up on the ground, and we work out where to put different items on the table.
It was the cup furthest away, wasn't it?
We wanted to see how the crew would deliver and where they would place the different items. So I was just checking with my camera just to make sure that we had the items placed correctly.
After 8 hours, the flight finally arrives in New York. Time to find out if the team delivered that 5-star service that Claire was hoping for.
The crew were thrown into the deep end. There's little things that we can work on. It's more around that finesse, so making sure we've got consistent table layups. I think the customers do notice the detail. If it's done well, hopefully it should look very effortless. No big changes. I think it's just sort of those small little details that we need to focus on.
With Claire happy with the team, how does Jonathan think they performed?
The things I'll take away from here is just maybe from a crew delivery perspective, we just managed to serve all the wine we needed, so we're going to have to look at loading some more of those on board. The crew, I thought, did really well today. They really just threw themselves into it, so I was really proud of how they dealt with it, and they just were able to deliver a seamless service to the customer.
Coming up, the airline prepares to say goodbye to a faithful flying machine.
This has got character, it's different, it's quirky, and it's just like an old friend that's going.
And delivery day is looming for the engineers in Cardiff. Will their plane be ready for takeoff?
If we can't fix the windscreen today, then it could deflect the flight time. That's not something we want to happen.
Back in Cardiff, and Tim and the team are up against the clock as they are just hours away from completing a cabin refresh on this 777 aircraft. They've been working on the plane for 4 weeks, but now the airline want it back in service and earning money, so the pressure is on.
Let's get that thing fixed there, and then we'll speak with John.
That's a bit of silver.
That's the attention to detail there.
Although the cabin has been transformed, there's still plenty to do before Tim can hand the plane over for its test flight in the morning.
We're coming to the final part now. So now we're putting ceiling panels up, putting the curtains in, finishing any problems with the carpets, testing the systems. So it's a busy time. Last few jobs, we've got about 20 people working on the aircraft today. The pressure's on. We're working the aircraft 24 hours a day to make sure that we satisfy delivery of the aircraft for its flight test.
But just as the team think it's job done, there's a problem with a cockpit window that could jeopardise their delivery deadline.
We needed to do a test on the window heat system. The window is heated for anti-fogging and impact resistance. So by warming the window up, it makes it more flexible. Unfortunately, that window heat system failed on test, which involved us having to change the window.
Just putting the window lining back on after we stripped it down to replace this #2 window. It was delaminated and misting up.
You know, there's a lot of hard work riding on what the guys needed to achieve today. If we couldn't fix the windscreen today, then it could deflect the flight time. That's not something we want to happen.
Yeah, we had to replace this, so we're just putting everything back together now. Yeah, job done. Let's go.
So picked it up on this, picked it up in plenty of time, and changed the window. Time to move on to the next job.
With the cockpit window finally fitted, there's just time for a lick of paint and a spring clean, and this giant makeover is complete.
We've got a new business class with a new in-flight entertainment Panasonic system, new LED lighting, new furnishings, new carpets, a complete colour change. We've gone to a much darker finish throughout the cabin, which is then accentuated out by all the mood lighting that we've got throughout the cabin. So the colours can change throughout the cabin depending on the time of the day, morning, afternoon, evening. Look at it. It's modern and it looks like a brand new aircraft.
This plane touched down in Cardiff 42 days ago, and it's been transformed with an all-new interior. The team were hoping to get it done in 30 days, but it did slip into extra time.
Worked on lots of different aircraft in my 25 years in BA, and I've never installed such a complex modification. We're within the allocated time, as we've said, for the input. We always have a contingency that is built in because of the complexity of the modification. We've needed to use some of that contingency. However, we will be delivering the aircraft on time as per the original plan.
Tim can now hand over the plane to complete its final engine tests before it heads out on a 5-hour test flight tomorrow morning.
So I'm only one part of a great team, but to have worked with that team throughout has been brilliant. I haven't done this, they've done this. Hope you guys are smiling. We're scheduling a night out to celebrate the brilliant work that the guys have done. That'll be a good night out.
It's just after 10 p.m. at Heathrow's Terminal 5. As cleaners begin to outnumber the passengers, a crowd has gathered at stand A18 to witness a truly momentous occasion in BA's history. Flight 663 arriving from Cyprus marks the end of an era. The time has come for the airline to bid farewell to the last Boeing 767 in its fleet.
The dear old 767's had her time, but she has been such a workhorse for us.
It's an airplane that started its career with British Airways flying from London to Paris, which is a 30-minute flight. And then the aircraft expanded its destinations to the point where we were flying to Los Angeles from Manchester.
The 767 was Boeing's first wide-body, twin-engine plane, and the airline's fleet have made more than 400,000 flights between them.
The analogy I like to use, the Boeing 767 is just an amazingly capable estate car. It's like a car where you can fill every single seat, and yet there's still a huge boot out the back where you can fit the sofa in as well.
It's just a fantastic, versatile aircraft, carried people safely all over the world to far corners, and it's just been brilliant.
This plane alone, registration Zulu Hotel Alpha, has around 23,000 flights to its name and has clocked up enough air miles to fly to the moon and back 50 times.
It was always an absolute pleasure to get onto this because it's so light, the controls, it's so accurate, it's so stable. It's lovely to fly, absolutely lovely.
Tonight's final voyage was piloted by Captain Julie Levy, and along for the ride was a special guest, fellow pilot and husband Mark Levy, because this flight also marked Julie's final touchdown as she bids farewell to the airline.
It has been my office for a lot of those years, and of course to be able to combine this aeroplane's last flight with my last flight is just, I couldn't have asked for anything better. I've spent a lot of time in here, and it's like a pair of old slippers, people often describe aeroplanes that they've been flying for a long time as such, and I just feel so comfortable in here.
So many people have bought tickets to be on this flight, and for Julie to actually fly the aeroplane, for the aircraft to retire, and Julie to retire on the same day is a perfect way to end a long career. So I had to be on the flight, and our kids had to be on the flight.
It's so nice to hear that everyone just loves our mum, because we know, but it's so nice to see that everyone else knows it, kind of thing.
It was very emotional, I think, for everyone, and particularly for us, because, I mean, obviously our whole lives, both of our parents have been flying us places, and now our mum's going to finish, and it's all very sad, really, and we know how much this means to her, so, yeah.
I don't want to take the shine off the aeroplane. The aeroplane is the star of the show, really. The 767 has served British Airways well for 26 years, and I'm just very lucky to be part of that.
But after so many years in service, the ageing 767 has witnessed the world of aviation change dramatically. The trusty old workhorse just can't keep up with its leaner, greener rivals. In the morning, this aircraft will be flown to Wales, where it will be decommissioned and sold on. It's unlikely ever to fly again.
The modern aircraft are lighter, more fuel efficient. It's a tough world now in aviation commercially, so we need to move on.
We need more modern aeroplanes. We need to be kinder to the environment, and I think it's just time for us to make way for more modern aeroplanes.
Next time, there's issues in overnight engineering as the team have only hours to get a plane back into service.
The engine has failed its runs, so it's going to have to come back in the hangar. It's still got an oil leak.
Until we've got into that engine and having a look round, it could be anything.
Aircraft dispatch manager Sally Ann faces a race against the clock.
Just under an hour now, so it'll be all go from here on in, I think.
But will technical problems throw her plans into chaos?
One of the machines that the loading team use has broken down.
And it's a big day for Sarah as she's in charge of moving a 50-ton jet for the very first time.
Practice, training, perfection.